actually watch it. I'll tag her in it.
All right,
And
yeah, dude. Hey, send her a text right now. I'll
I,
text her.
I got her number.
It's just
You
sad.
They set the meeting at the
send it to
previous
me and I'll
meeting,
send it to
and
her.
then she
Okay.
turned around and she tried to blame Andy Sapala for not telling her that they were having a meeting, and her own peer set the meeting.
Hey, we're live on Facebook. Blah, 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 blah,
Are,
blah,
are we live on Facebook?
Yes.
Yes, so no more shenanigans.
I thought that's what most of this show
Don't
was
worry,
made up
nobody's
with.
watching
was,
yet.
10 seconds, mics
The
are
last
off.
few weeks have been just shenanigans.
This is your weather report from the WSIC Weather Center.
Purple Heart Homes presents Putting the Pieces Back Together, a forum for veterans and the community to connect. Here are your hosts, veterans John Gallina and Brad Borders.
Well, welcome to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We are happy to be here with you this week. Been a crazy busy week.
I am putting the pieces back together, literally, of my body
Yeah, well,
and my.
I'm trying to pick up
health.
the pieces of my calendar after being on the road.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
It's
I
been,
get it.
It has been a week. So yeah, I came down with the vid again.
Yeah.
And man, I'm gonna tell you, everybody was like, "Oh, it's not that bad this time." That is a lie. That is an absolute lie. That is a lie from the pit of Satan. It freaking hammered
been
me.
tough,
man. Oh, bro, fever, headache, fatigue, and then like as I started to come out of it, I would wake up in the morning. I'm going, okay, I'm feeling great, and then like 10:30, there was like a Mack truck that just came through my house and just eradicated my world.
wow, you get the full gambit there.
Full Monty.
Full Monty. Oh, wow.
Monty.
I've never quite understood that phrase because isn't it actually technically that it's nothing Monty?
I mean,
And
I think that's probably.
There's nothing on, so therefore it's not full of anything,
you and
right?
I
It's
are on
just
total ends of the spectrum when it comes to stuff.
my
man.
gosh.
It never ceases to amaze me, man. Never in my. We've been doing this together for. We've been working together for 6 years.
would you consider it the empty Monty?
empty. Wow.
We've been doing a radio program for 2 years, and it never ceases to amaze me. I never know what's going to come out of his mouth.
Well,
Have
you know,
no
that-
idea.
Well, that's why I don't write my notes for you.
I know. That's why I stopped doing them. I
wasn't reading them
You weren't
anyways.
reading them. When we first got this thing started, I would like print out all these notes and I would go, "Hey, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that." We had like a show clock, and remember, we
Oh,
were
yeah.
like super organized.
Yeah,
and now
we had
it's
to
just
say
like,
specific words at certain times.
now what we have now everybody gets a Werther's Original or a chocolate raisin, and then we go to the show.
We go to the
That's
show.
it. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, and just think we've got I think one of the greatest guests we've ever had in the show
have,
today. We've got Kid Rock on the show.
Yeah, we do have Kid
I mean,
Rock.
look at him. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, look at that. Just I don't even know, I don't know how to describe it for the listeners.
I'm going to describe it.
been
Devin
there
is
the
here
whole
and he is in full beard. He's got to take that hill hat on. He's got a headset on and he's got aviator sunglasses that have an American flag imprinted on them. He is so patriotic.
I think what he's
today.
really trying to say is that's the reason he couldn't ride a bicycle because he couldn't see out of it.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's
happened.
exactly
Oh
right.
my
Oh,
gosh.
it's
These are-
either that or we need to have a planned drug test as soon as we get off there.
It is
I
absolutely
was
true.
told when I was hired that's not something we did. Is that?
Well, it's a policy we instituted at the beginning of this radio show.
oh wow, this is.
The employee handbook is a living document. It can be
we're
changed
gonna
at
have
any
to
time.
Call Martin or Godholm there and.
See, he can't even get his name right.
What's my lawyer's
I got nervous all of a sudden. I don't know
mercy.
why. My palms are
my
sweaty. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Maybe we ought to introduce the show.
Let's do that. Let's do that,
you are
chat.
listening and putting the pieces back together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. We're a 501c3 based out of Iredell County, North Carolina, but we do work all over America to meet the housing needs for disabled veterans, and we're glad to be able to be doing that. And we've been doing that now for 15 years. We are now a four-star charity with
How
Charity
about that?
Navigator.
Hey, and how about we even were ranked as one of the top 9 veteran housing charities in America by
is
Impactful Ninja 2 weeks ago.
alongside some other heavy hitters that
Yeah.
we're proud to be mentioned in the same sentence with Gary Sinise and Rebuilding Together and
Habitat
others.
for Humanity
Yeah, that's
International.
amazing,
Yeah.
man. We're really proud of that, and so a lot of hard work's gone into that, and a lot of great people have come alongside us in this mission, and we're really glad to be here. And we've been doing this radio show for now a year. We're almost to our 100th episode, which is
hard to
going to be a
believe.
big celebration. We're going to do that sometime, I think in October is our 100th episode, so we'll have something special for that. But today is one I've been looking forward to. We've been trying to pull this together for several months, and one of my dearest friends on the planet that I served with at a very special place
I hope
down
he
at Fort
doesn't
Bragg.
listen to the previous radio show.
No, he hasn't listened. I haven't let him.
Okay, because that's good. 'Cause he would have heard you say the same thing about the plastic.
I know. I haven't let him. But in my email to everybody about Jim, I promoted him to Sergeant Major, and
You did.
he was retired as a Master Sergeant, which is pretty lofty in the chain. But Jim, welcome to the program, and we're really glad you're here today.
And Devin, I'm really looking forward to this discussion. So,
Yeah.
too long, buddy.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we're glad you're here, man.
About slavery, then I would agree with you because, I mean, that dude's on the top of everyone's books.
That's for sure. Yep. And so Jim served as Nick's team sergeant on a pretty special group of guys at 3rd Special Forces Group, and so we are really honored to have you here, and it's good to see your face. I wish you were in studio with us so that I could give you a big hug, but I owe you one, and I'll drive down there to see you to do that in person. So. But thankful.
Well,
Hey,
Jim, before we get too far in, while we're talking about Nick a little bit, I'm just kind of curious. Did you serve as Nick's team sergeant before or after his injury, or both?
After.
Okay, after. So that's had to have been pretty spectacular to witness somebody who's lost a leg and then returning not only to active duty, not only to a Green Beret unit, but then also deploying into combat. That had to have been pretty spectacular to witness.
Oh,
I'll tell you right now, it was phenomenal in so many ways. But the most interesting part is, so I was fortunate, and I don't, kind of guide me here. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I was fortunate enough to have a very senior team and also a very large team. So a standard ODA is 12 men, right? They're talking about different sizes now and doing some tests on what is the right size for an ODA. But back then, I had a 17-man ODA, and that was unheard of. Basically 4 of every MOS. So I had 4 18 Bravos. Nick Lavery was an 18 Bravo. Made my job very easy because my guys ran the show. So I literally rode on their coattails and was fortunate enough to be in their presence. Getting Nick on the team is a story in itself.
oh yeah.
I mean, all he's accomplished, and I know you guys had him on the show, he is a testament to intestinal fortitude and mental toughness.
Yeah,
That
for sure.
dude is the epitome of a warrior.
Yeah.
And so what he did was he created an environment of no complaining, no whining, just get the work done on our team. And getting him on the team was the biggest hurdle of all. Once he was on the team, it was fire and forget. But he was the first above-the-knee amputee to return to operational status. And to do that, he had to go through a series of physical tests
It was
called
unreal.
ORT, the operational readiness test. And the command at the time, the group commander and group CSM were like, no way, no how. I remember being up in their office arguing with them like, this guy deserves it, this guy needs it, and if I'm not getting yelled at daily, I'm not doing right by him. Well, they finally gave him a shot, and you would have been amazed. At the gym the day he was doing the operational readiness test to determine if he could return to an operational detachment, the entire command was there.
It was amazing.
My whole ODA was there,
Yeah.
along with hundreds of other people. It was like a packed house. And this dude crushed it.
Yeah.
One of the events was a high box jump. And his mechanical leg just doesn't function like a real leg. So he's a physical specimen in every way. but
Jim,
he just-
I'm going to interrupt you right there for just a second. It's a great place to segue to our break. This is a great taste of what's to come
Yep.
in the upcoming portions of the show. You are listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Putting the pieces back.
All right. Okay, so we stay live on Facebook during the breaks, Jim. And so everything that we're saying, is still on. So I don't want to pick back up with Nick's transition story yet, but that's a great place to stop because I want you to finish that, and then what we'll do is we'll backtrack to you joining the Army
Sure.
in the second segment. How's that sound?
Sounds great, buddy.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So anyhow, for everybody watching on Facebook, I think we got. Oh, look, man, we're up to like 7 on Facebook today.
7. Oh,
7
wow. How
live.
many of them are in this room? That's
Me, you, Tammy, John, Joe.
Hey, look, we just went up to 8. Hey, don't knock it. We had, by the time we finished up the show last week, it's like 268 views.
Oh, 268 views total.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All
That's
right.
sweet.
Well, that's
Yeah.
not bad.
That's good.
I don't know what
bad.
it
I'll
is
take it.
now, but
I think that was fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fun show.
Yeah, last
it
week
was a
was a
lot.
fun show. It was just complete idiocy last week. Right, the whole thing. Right.
It was a good time.
was
I'm
a
not
good
sure
time.
if anything was accomplished, but it was a good
No,
time.
nothing was accomplished. Somebody should have put a stop to it. Right.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
it was bad. It
Hey,
was-
look,
it was
you know
really
what we
bad.
need more in the world is some truth and some laughter.
That's true.
right.
That's
and,
true.
And there is truth and laughter
Well,
on putting the pieces
I'll
back
tell you-
So
together.
that's
I'll
why
tell
you
you-
guys are here is the truth, and I'm here.
Yeah,
well,
Definitely
you give us
today.
something to laugh
that's
at.
true.
And that's truth.
That's true. That's true.
Now, be nice. My mom's one of those 8 listeners. You don't want to upset her.
She's just listening because she knows we're right.
That's right. So I come in my office one day. So Jimmy was in transition, and he was getting ready. I think you were getting ready to take the 3126 as a team sergeant, and you were coming from somewhere. I can't remember what you had been doing, but you had like 6 months where you were kind of free floating in transition, waiting on the time to change out, and so you didn't have like a team to work out with. So guess who you picked to work out with? Me.
Really?
Now I got to work out with Jim Rooney every day. We met every single day. It was phenomenal. And so I come in my office one day, and he had snuck in my office when I wasn't looking, and took the Sharpie marker or the dry erase marker and wrote on my whiteboard behind my desk. It said, "You are an animal," right?
Oh, yes.
Yes. And then it developed this. We developed this thing called Cat Quick and Grizzly Strong, and I didn't know who had written it, right? I had no idea. I was like, who's coming in and writing on the chaplain's board, right? And then I found out later it was Jim Rooney. He was leaving me secret love motivational notes. Right?
Jim, that is one of
Loving-
his favorite stories. He has told me that like at
I
least
love
6
that story.
times.
Yeah.
So,
In fact, 86.
I think it's that he had somebody that had a crush on him. That's,
Oh,
that's what he's
yeah,
most proud of.
I had a crush. I had a bromance going with
10
Jim.
seconds.
Like-
10 seconds. Mics are going off.
873-1400. It's putting the pieces back together on WSIC.
Let's hear it, Kid Rock.
hey, you're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes, with our guest Jim Rooney, and we're going to hear a little bit about his love letters to Brad here in just a moment, and
Whiteboard love letters from Jim Rooney.
Actually, I think the listeners are going to have to go to Facebook and hear about that later.
They will. We're going to move forward.
I took a
Enough
picture
about
of it.
love letters.
Yeah.
Brad can post his pictures later.
I've got
None
pictures.
of that on today's show.
My word.
Jim, you were before the break. You were telling us about Nick Lavery, and for those that don't know, Nick Lavery is the first above-the-knee amputee to go back to operational status as a Green Beret in the United States Army, and he served on Nick's team, on Jim's team, and Jim was telling us a little bit about the operator readiness test or the return to duty test at the time is what it was called. Tell us a little bit about what he had to do to get the approval of the command.
Yeah, so like I was saying, it was an uphill battle, and everyone was hesitant at first because, let's be honest, as a one-legged man on an ODA in an austere and ambiguous environment, you're a liability, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone respected that. No one more than Nick. So when he had to do this box jump, one of the events, his leg just wouldn't function properly, his mechanical leg. So he took the leg off and did this box jump with one leg, where most of us had trouble doing it with two legs. That just shows kind of, what he did to accomplish what he wanted. And then once he got on the team and we deployed, I was given strict guidance. I mean, talking about everybody telling me, Jim, he is not to go on combat operations and become a liability. Because if Nick goes down, it's going to take like 8 of us to carry him.
Yeah, because he's
Yeah,
huge.
he's a big dude.
Yes.
So I snuck every way I could to get him on the task org. He's driving an ATV. He's doing this. He's, you know, and we went out on a few missions, and I got reprimanded a few times. But you know what? What didn't kill him made him stronger. He continued to pressure, pursue, and punish no matter what he was doing.
That's awesome.
Well, Jim, let's back up a little bit in your career and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what led you to join the military in general.
Yeah. So I think I have a unique story, and I'm grateful to be able to tell it. And I say what I'm about to say with all humility. Something I like to do is tell everyone, eat some humble pie before you speak to anyone, because there's always someone out there that's done more than you. They've done it better than you. So I don't in any way want to come across as arrogant or anything, but I was very much a punk. I mean, just straight up. I was in my 3rd year of college, and I was dealing drugs. I'm talking cocaine, mushrooms, acid, weed, everything. I did everything. I sold it. I used it. I was in a really, really dark place. I got arrested for the 3rd time, and I won't go into details about all my arrests, but I deserved every bit of, I guess, harassment I got. But I got arrested for my 3rd time, and the judge gave me an ultimatum. Said, "You're a punk. It's join the Army or go to jail." So I didn't grow up wanting to be this elite soldier. I didn't have any visions of grandeur in that field. I just didn't want to go to jail because I was afraid of getting raped, to be honest. Yeah. So,
I wasn't expecting to hear that, but that's a pretty good reason not to want to go to jail.
Good. I concur.
Yeah.
that's the truth. And so I went to the recruiting station and I said, "What's the bear?" Because I didn't know. You know, some kids grow up, I want to be an airborne ranger like my dad. No one in my family was in the military. I didn't know anything about it. And I had great parents, a great upbringing. I had no reason to be such a punk. I just was. And so I went to the recruiting station and said, "What's the bare minimum I can do?" And they said, "Join the reserves." I went to one drill. Actually, I went to basic training. I got the shit kicked out of me by a few drill sergeants, and I was in with some Bloods and Crips and got into a couple fights there. But basically knocked me straight. I went to one drill and said, "I need this in my life." So I joined 10th Mountain Division. And how I did that was I went back to the MEP station and said, "I need to go active duty. If I don't stay in the military, I'm going to be either dead or in jail in 6 months." And so they said, "Where do you want to go?" And I'm like, "Well, what unit's at war right now?" And they're like, 10th Mountain Division. I'm like, "Send me there. Sounds like a good place to rehabilitate myself."
And so this is what year?
This was 1993.
Okay.
And it was probably the later part of 92, but by the time I got there, 93. And so I joined 10th Mountain Division, showed up to the unit. They were already deployed to Somalia. And this is the first time I deployed twice. And so I flew over with this other guy and met up with my unit. And here's a funny story on that. I'm a dumb private with 0 tactical training. And I show up to my unit, and we weren't really in full conflict now. It was like Operation Restore Hope and Continue Hope. This is prior to Operation Gothic Serpent. And they were at the beach just kind of hanging out. So I take my shirt off, and hours later, I've got blisters all over my body. I got 2nd-degree burns from the sun. And so my squad leader gave me an Article 15 for damaging government property.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's
I've
awesome.
been threatened with the same thing.
So anyways, I returned to Fort Drum. That deployment was short, maybe a month and a half, and I didn't do anything, didn't fire a single shot. Then we reset and then redeployed. And again, I still have 0 tactical training, but that's when we were in October 3rd and 4th, and about 5 or 6 other engagements outside of October 3rd and 4th. But that's when I really experienced the major part of Operation Gothic Serpent.
Yeah. So there's a cool story about some dudes you met that day, or one of those days, that kind of inspired you to take another path in the military. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Share that
I
with us.
remember the first time we went out, we were the the quick reaction force for the Rangers and CAG. And so we get the call, and we were all staged and ready to go from the university. We drive out, we take contact from every direction. I mean, it was like the Wild West. I mean, there was gunfire everywhere. The Somalis were shooting at you from both sides of the alley. So like a Polish ambush, and you just pick a side. You're going to take rounds from the rear and from the front. So, I mean, so I just kind of traversed left and right shooting. The trucks we had didn't have armor on them, or they had very limited armor. And so they were getting shot to shit. Anyways, we pulled back from that. I mean, they set up all these roadblocks with burning tires and burning vehicles, and we just smashed through them. And then I remember this CAG guy coming up to me, and we're in the heat of battle, like guns flying everywhere. And he just says, "Hey, how you doing, son?" And I said, I'm effing scared.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a private with zero tactical training. I'm a gunner on a Humvee with an M60 machine gun and a Mark 19. And so I'm like, I'm just scared. I'm just shooting at everything that's shooting at me, and so this dude says, "Hey man, you're doing it right. Keep shooting back." And I'm like, how the hell do you do it right? Like, I had no chicken plate, no cupola, no protection. And it's just by the grace of God that I didn't take a round in every part of my body. And I remember I was like, I got to piss so bad. And this is like hours into the fight. And I'm like, to my squad leader, I got to piss. And he's like, really? And so you literally had to have another dude jump up in the turret and continue firing while you got down. And I'm leaning against this wall, pissing, and rounds are flying all around my head. I'm like, I'm going to go down taking a piss.
Sounds like a really similar story that Nick Lavery shared about jumping out of the back of the
Nick shared
Humvee.
one. He was actually not number one. He was doing number 2.
I like how politically correct you said that. It was like met FCC guidelines.
Yeah,
number
that's
2, not dropping a deuce, not anything else.
Number 2. And Nick,
That wasn't a subtle hint to anyone,
not
was it?
dropping LT off at the pool, nothing like that.
yeah. No, man. Yeah. Nick had to, and his leg wasn't on. He had to throw himself in this was when they were in Africa. He was telling that story.
Yeah.
And,
I remember that. Vividly, yeah.
Right. Yeah. He had to throw himself in the back of the pickup
But
truck.
I think for our listeners, the battle doesn't stop, and your bladder doesn't stop.
right.
You
That's
know,
right.
Yeah.
things gotta work, right?
exactly right.
It's all got to come together.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to my daughter Ava, who's at ECU. I love you, girl. She's
Hey,
just
Ava.
joined Pi Omega sorority. We're so proud of her. She's the best thing in my life. So
That's awesome.
That's fantastic. And so we got
She just texted me.
just about 2 minutes before break here. Tell us about your family real quick.
So I'm fortunate enough to have the most amazing wife of 22 years, and we have plenty of struggles. And that's something I want to make sure we talk about this episode. And I have 2 children, an 18-year-old daughter, Ava, at ECU, and a 14-year-old son, Bryce, who's awesome at travel baseball and everything else he sets his mind to.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. And I do look forward to this upcoming segment and talking about family and struggles and reintegration. That's really what the show's primarily about. And, it's just great having you on the show with us and hearing these stories, and just would love to talk some more about leadership as well and how that developed for you over the years, going from being, as you say, a punk kid in the court, sending you to the military, and then becoming this amazing leader, and certainly somebody that leads Nick Lavery and so many other great Americans, somebody we can all learn from. And so we look forward to hearing all about that stuff.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this just personally. So, Jim and I met at a funeral, right? But practicing for a funeral. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that after the break. But that's how our relationship started in 2010, actually. Gosh, it's been that long. So it's just you're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We've got our friend, Master Sergeant retired Jim Rooney. He's a Green Beret. He's a living legend in my mind, and I know not in his. But we'll be back with more with him here in just a few minutes after a break, where you can hear about our sponsors who keep us on the
And
air.
don't forget,
each
we
week.
got Devil Dog Devin in the room.
And coming back with the project of the
How
week.
could
So
they
we'll see you in
forget
3
that?
minutes.
More.
Before we go back live, I would just like to remind that this is the radio. We are regulated by the FCC. I understand it was a little heated. but just a little reminder. No issue though.
Are we? Because we're.
Yeah, we can do that.
Now we are, yes.
Yeah, we're on the Facebook. Yeah, thank you, Jim. What a great story, man.
Oh, buddy, that was great. And listen, when we start back up, Brad,
Yep.
I want to make sure and talk about that funeral because words you said to me have never left my mind.
Okay.
Oh wow, that's
All
awesome.
right. We can do that.
I
And that
think
was an important funeral too, because we lost a dear one at that one for sure. They're all dear, but that one
Yeah.
particularly was painful. You know, so yeah. Did you get the link to send to Christy?
Oh yeah, buddy. So Ava is watching too from
Get out!
ECU.
Oh, Ava's watching.
That's why I gave her a shout out.
Well, hey,
that's
hey,
awesome.
hey, Ava, she can still hear us, so that's fantastic. I haven't seen Ava since probably, I don't know. I think it was. When was the last time that you rode to Afghanistan with 3126? What year was that?
2015.
I think that's the last time I was hanging. I saw Ava and Bryce was super little.
Yeah.
We did some stuff back here for for the families of the folks that were deployed, and we did some stuff over in Pinehurst, and Christy and the kids were there. That was awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, Brad, you did awesome, man. You were helping out the Iman family, Ali Iman.
Yeah, man. Oh,
Yeah.
that one hurt so bad too.
Oh, it did. It
so
Tim, what are we talking
So
about?
Eric Iman was on Jimmy's team, and Eric got killed 2018, I think, right?
Oh, man.
And so it was right before Christmas. It was in between like Christmas and Thanksgiving, right? Wasn't it right in there? Yep. And so everything was decorated, and they had this terrible loss, and Jimmy called me up, and I had grown my beard out real long. I was really long at the time. I hadn't been to an Army drill in like 8 months. My beard was huge. And he was like, "Hey man, will you come be Santa Claus for Allie and the kids?"
Oh wow.
And so I met Jim at the fire department in Southern Pines, and
Aberdeen, yeah.
in Aberdeen, and we painted my beard, right?
You painted it white?
Yeah, we painted it white, and I had a Santa Claus suit on, and then they trucked me over to Allie's and Eric's house in a fire truck, man.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Really, yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah, and Tammy got to go, and it was just an incredible. It was so hard. It was so. I had a
sad.
bag full of presents. Remember, man, I met the kids in the yard, and they sat on my lap and told them I loved them, and
They were in the fire
man,
truck.
Wow, that
they got in the
They
fire
got in
truck
the-
with
they
us. Yeah,
spotted
man, it was, and then I left in the fire truck, man. I mean, it was crazy, and Jimmy set all that up, man.
Mm-hmm.
No kidding.
He set every bit of that up.
and that's
Yeah.
one of those things like when people have that kind of loss, like you think, what can you do?
Bro, man.
Yeah, y'all really came through there. That's,
I will tell you, Jimmy, I just went to the VA for my psych appointment, right, and just an eval, man, and I had all these memories, just through the questions with the doc, all these memories popping in my head, man. I cracked in the meeting with her, and I was only in there for like 20 minutes. It wasn't even a therapy thing. It was just, just an eval of what's my current state, and all these memories, all this loss was just, it was rough, man.
Yeah, that's something people don't really think about. Chaplain's job is to deal with trauma every day.
Yeah.
You're who they come to
Yeah.
lean on in those
Yeah,
times.
man, and if you get it on you,
Oh yeah.
you get it on you, man, and sometimes you don't know you got it on you, and then it takes years to figure that out. So
Yeah.
here I am. I'm still alive. So yeah, here we go.
We got 10 seconds. Mics are going off.
Awesome.
I lied. There was a hidden commercial.
Oh,
There's
there
a
was.
hidden commercial.
Okay.
We got 20 seconds.
Yeah, I know. Are you?
I think
Are you-
our time's getting diminished and breaks are going longer. I'm not sure what they're saying about us.
I've listened to the other shows, and I don't think that their breaks are as long. I'm pretty sure that.
Maybe it's because they don't have as many sponsors as we have.
Oh, that's it.
Let's
Yeah,
look at the
that's
bright
gotta be it.
side. I mean, see how you got glasses on. Let's look at
Okay,
the bright
10
side.
seconds
Now.
this time. I promise.
Are
Here
you
we
lying?
go.
Don't be lying to me, Joe.
Borders on the new 1059 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. We're here with our friend Jim Rooney, Master Sergeant, retired Green Beret, and we are just having a great time here on the show with him today, learning about his life experiences, what led him into the service, what it was like leading a team of top performers, the true one percenters of the one percenters of the United States military. And just a wealth of knowledge and experience. If you missed any part of the show, be sure to go back and check it out either on Facebook, or you can check it out on podcast and be able to listen to some other shows as well.
And on WSIC's page, you can they record and put all the stuff up on their page, and so you can go back and watch this stuff later on. And if you're a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, that's right. So before we get back to Jim, let's hear from Kid Rock, aka Devil Dog Devin. I'm not sure what to think of these glasses yet. I'm still just in awe. It amazes me.
Look at that.
If you don't know, Devil Dog is a TikTok rock star.
I don't know about rock star.
Tickety tock tock.
Well, it's more like TikTok fall like a rock star. His most recent TikTok with Brad about Take That Hill. Brad found this really special bike, and when I say special bike, I mean like one you would see at a circus.
Yes.
It's got a 3 foot tall wheel in the front and about a 3-inch wheel in the back, and Devin was wearing these same glasses, and on the video, I thought maybe Devin just forgot how to ride a bike.
He's pretty athletic, man.
But now that I see him with these glasses, I'm realizing the glasses might have had, they're like the googly glasses where you can't see like
No,
that.
they're because I'm going so fast on that bike. I got to keep the wind out of my eyes.
It's like you had to get a running jump to get on the seat.
You didn't see the lightning flying?
You need to talk to Wes about actually bringing that bike to Take That Hill and you leading everybody out.
Oh my God! Yeah,
let's not do that. I know there's going to be paramedics there, but I don't want to see nobody get
I want
hurt.
to see it.
We had to get extra liability coverage for it. So if you're unaware, on October the 7th, Purple Heart Homes hosts a fundraising event called Take That Hill. It's coined and as something Brad started. It's coined as in the military, every generation's had a hill to take. Whether it was World War I, World War II, Civil War, Revolutionary War, Iraq, Afghanistan, everybody's taken a hill somewhere. And so in the process, we honor the men and women that have fought and served in our nation to be able to go out and fundraise so we can make sure that veterans have a safe place to call home. So Devin, in his meager, earnest efforts to help promote Take That Hill, decided to go for a bike ride that Brad filmed for him.
He did. It's fantastic.
Brad, you said it took 4 hours for him to ride that bike 25 feet.
No, he didn't. He did. Actually, I'm going to tell you this. Devin is fairly athletic, right? I mean, I'm going to say.
Wait a minute. So anybody that can roll on the ground is athletic?
Well, he actually got up on that bike, which was like, I wouldn't do it. I just was like, I am not getting up on that thing. It's too high for me, man. I'm scared of heights. And, and he got up on it. He fell. The first time he could have severely injured himself, and
some things got caught.
Yeah, that was not good. But we got all that on video, so this is good. So anyhow, hey, you got a project of the week for us, man. Help us out.
Hey, let's talk about one of our chapters down there in Mississippi.
Oh, down there, not out there.
Well, I feel
okay. You're good, man. You're geographically correct today. It's awesome.
So we have a chapter in Mississippi called the Pine Belt chapter, and not all of our chapters are going out there and swinging hammers on projects. Some of them they're just connected to their community, and they help us find funding, and they help us find the most important part, the veterans in need.
Yeah, correct.
And this is just one of those cases where we had a Marine. Out there in
Lord help us.
There we go.
In Mississippi, Staff Sergeant Bentley, and he had a hole in his roof. It's leaking in there, and anybody who knows anything about houses knows that if your roof is leaking, if you ignore it, your whole house is going to be ruined before long. And so working through the Pine Belt chapter, they connect us back up to headquarters, and we got with our great partner OC Roofs.
Yep.
And
Owens Corning.
Owens Corning for those who are laymen and not in the know.
That's right.
And they got this fella a brand new roof.
That's amazing.
Just a few weeks ago, and he's happy. He's dry, and it's all thanks to just having some boots on the ground in the community.
That's wonderful.
So if you'd like to be some of those boots on the ground, contact us at phhusa.org.
That's
But before we
wonderful.
get back to Jim, I just got to go to one thing that you said. That I heard a whole new context to "oorah." Paul and I were out in Texas for a military makeover show this past week. Give a quick shout out to Project Echelon and Argon 18 donated a time trial bike to the veteran that Paul and I were able to present out
that's
there.
amazing.
And really cool. And that was an honor to Take That Hill. We invited the veteran to come join us for next year's Take That Hill event. So it's really cool. But in the process, there were a group of cheerleaders when we were filming the big reveal. And the cheerleaders are going, rah, rah, rah. And
Marine Corps
and
cheerleaders?
Paul got so into it, he forgot the ooh. And he just went, rah, 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 rah.
Paul?
And it's on video. You have to watch Military Makeover to see it. It's going to be in the
That's gonna
reveal.
be
You're going to see
amazing.
Paul saying
Man,
rah,
it's
rah,
gonna be
rah.
amazing.
And so now when I think of Marines, I think of cheerleaders.
Nah,
gosh.
it's awesome.
That'll forever be burned in my mind.
But I wanna
No
see-
more crayons,
we'll
they're
get-
cheerleaders.
We're going to get
Pom-poms.
Devin a cheerleader outfit.
Yep, pom-poms.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yep. All right, let's
That's
get
coming.
back to our guest, Jim.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's much more interesting.
Yes, he is. So,
true.
Jimmy, we got about 3 minutes till our break, but I want you to, for the next 3 minutes, I want you to let everybody know what it took for you to go from where you were as a infantry dude in 10th Mountain Division to putting on a Green Beret.
Yeah, so it started when I saw the folks in 1993 in Mogadishu. Again, I had no point of reference or nothing to compare them to. I just knew that these dudes looked different than me, and they acted like it was a training exercise. And it was, to this day, the most intense firefight I've ever been in my life. And it's also documented as the most fierce fighting since Vietnam. So it was a significant battle, the Battle of Mogadishu, and being there on the lower end of the soldier spectrum, and then being around people like my friends, General Retired Scott Miller, who were on the higher end of the soldier spectrum, we both shared the same emotions, which was a true fight for your life. And then you have to protect those to your right and left. It was right then and there that I think unconsciously the seed was planted. And that thrust me in to finish my time at 10th Mountain. I took a small break and was an instructor at the Mountain Warfare School up in Vermont. And then from there, I just kind of figured I always wanted to go higher. So I went to Special Forces from there because I wanted to be that guy that was that calm under fire that I saw in 1993.
Yeah, it's interesting. The term has been coined as non-anxious presence. So it's the ability to be non-anxious while you're present with people in the midst of chaos. And one of the things that I saw while working, in that community with Jim and a lot of other great men was that ability to be, as cool as the other side of the pillow, as Stuart Scott used to say on ESPN. But we're, in the middle of traumatic things going on, people just did not lose their heads. And the primary reason for that was the type of character that people brought in through the selection process. That's selected out, right? Character is one of the big things. But then the training, there's so much confidence in the training that goes on there, creates this level of confidence that is that's unmatched anywhere. It's not cockiness. It's just plain confidence, and it's contagious to be around. It really is. So, hey, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back. You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, and we've got Master Sergeant retired Jim Rooney on. He's a Green Beret. He's a special human being. We're going to hear some more from him when we come back to finish out the show. We're going to take a break to hear from our
There's more Putting the Pieces Back Together with John
Oh.
Gallina.
That was this. I thought that was keep going.
That was
That
yeah.
was-
You're talking a lot.
Wrap it
Yeah,
up.
that
Yeah.
was keep going.
Hush up.
All right.
If he would have had a shepherd's
You know,
hook.
you know what I've learned. What I've learned is that when he throws up the card that says 30 minutes,
He doesn't mean
what
that.
that means is 30 more words. That's all you've got to say.
30
30
words.
seconds.
30
yeah,
seconds.
30
yeah.
seconds means you got 30 words
So-
left.
Oh, yeah. Word a second. Hey, how the heck
Oh,
are you?
look, Ben's here.
We must be in trouble. Did FCC call?
Y'all got any dogs? Any dogs?
No dogs.
Nobody has a dog?
No.
Oh yeah, I mean I,
yeah,
have
I've got a
dogs,
dog,
but not
yeah.
with
Not
me.
with
You
it.
have-
At home, I got two. I got a little Frenchie and
got
a
a single
Aussie
dog.
Doodle.
Oh.
Oh, I
We got
love
an
my
event
Frenchie.
This weekend. We got
Oh
some-
yeah, are these breath mints? Because the
Oh.
Frenchie's
So-
breath is horrible.
I don't have any dogs.
I have a dog, just a single dog.
Hey,
I'll
devil
keep
dog,
it.
do not
We
eat
have a
these.
granddog.
They say
Yeah.
woof.
Well, thank you.
Are these are dog?
That's cool. What's going on
Treats?
with these?
Streets, yeah.
No kidding. They got
WSIC.
frosting on them. Wow,
Oh yeah, see
that's
that?
pretty impressive.
Oh, that's
yeah.
really cool. Thanks, Ben.
That is awesome, Ben.
So if we see these back there next to the snack bowl,
Don't
and
eat
don't eat these.
Yeah.
I noticed there were no more Werther's originals, so we're.
I
My,
need to go to the store and get us some more snacks.
It does say it's human grade, so the devil dog could have one if he wanted.
it says human grade on it. It does say human grade on it.
Justin's going to eat one this weekend. So
On
we
air.
need to Be on the social,
On air on the podcast.
well, it'll be on social media because we have an event Sunday.
Okay.
What's the event?
The
I saw the-
All-American Dog Show.
The All American
I saw
Dog Show in
the
Cornelius.
stretching
this Sunday.
video. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. I never knew nobody that was 5'7" could be stretched to 6'3".
We just got done with batting practice at DBAT in Huntersville, so that video.
Oh, that's a nice place. Yeah,
Okay.
my kids go
Super
there.
nice. My
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah, that's cool.
Did you have? You're with. Okay.
I'm with
All right.
him.
She's with me.
Sorry.
Yeah. This is for our future dog.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about time, huh?
It's been almost a
What
year.
about
Yeah.
Sarah's dog? Your mom's?
Oh, that's actually
Oh,
Tori
that's-
and Trevor's dog.
That's Tori. That's Hank.
Yeah.
That's our grand dog.
Hank. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love Hank.
Yeah,
Hank's
he's
the
a
man.
great
Hey,
dog.
Jim, tell me about
I'll see
the
him
Stetson
Saturday.
there behind you.
Well, maybe.
You know, that's funny. I was that was for work. So another Green Beret I retired with invited me to a conference out in Arizona, and I couldn't make it. So he sent me this hat and said, "Wish you were here."
Oh no
It's,
kidding.
Oh.
it's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a Stetson?
I guess so. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Look, he's got his whiteboard up. I love it.
American hat makers. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
10
yeah.
seconds until we're back
Still
live.
a good looking hat.
Mics are going off. Mics are going off.
Hat makers,
Whiteboards
oh.
and
Okay.
hey, you like.
All right, we are back with you live at WSIC News Studios, and we are just having the time of our life out here. We've got a great show going on. If you missed any part of it, you can pick it up on WSIC Facebook channel, where you can get all sorts of other shows that you can listen to, whether it's local, politics, news, sports, you name it, and it's airing here on WSIC. And you can also check out Purple Heart Homes Facebook page. You can pick up the events that we have going on and other activities and projects. As we start to wrap up the show here, we've got a couple more questions for our guest, Jim Rooney, and so we're going to go right into those questions.
Yeah, Jim. So tell us a little bit about what your career looked like as a Green Beret, and then you know, we wanted to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that all that brings, right? Yeah. So if man, fill us in on that.
You know, first off, I was very fortunate to be around great people. Every bit of success that I had was due to the people around me. And as I look back now as a 52-year-old retiree, I'm grateful for those relationships, some good, some bad, but the people around me are what made me who I am. And I loved every bit of being in the military. So we'll talk about transition, but you know, I don't want to get too far ahead. I love being retired as well. I was fortunate enough to spend many, many years as a Green Beret. I never really did any instructor time at SWIC or any structured instructor time. The only break I took was for a year to teach out at Cephalic. And if you remember, Brad,
I do.
that's when I would bring you out and I kind of taught you how to shoot a little bit. We had some really good times there. That was a year in my life. And the only reason I did that is because at that point, my wife and I were on the verge of divorce, and she said, something's got to change. So I went to the CSM and said, I need a break or I'm going to get divorced. Not knowing that I'm going to carry these issues for the rest of my career. And even now, still some, but so I took that break. But outside of that, I had basically 14 years of operational time. Now that operational time was everything from an 18 Bravo weapons sergeant. I got 4 years as an 18 Zulu team sergeant. I ran the dog program for almost 3 years, the 3rd Group Special Forces Multi-Purpose Canine Detachment. And then I finished up my last couple years as the Senior Enlisted Advisor for General Bodette at WSIC in the Commander's Action Group. So my entire time was operational, and that time was, I'd say every 12-month period, I was home for probably anywhere from 8 to 9 months.
Yep. Wow.
I was gone for 8 to 9 months. I was home for 3 to 4 months out of every 12-month period.
Yeah.
Obviously, that strain took a heavy, heavy toll on my marriage.
Double-digit deployments too, wasn't it? I mean, it was 10 or 11 deployments, wasn't it?
I had 12 deployments.
Yep.
Total.
Yeah.
And here's an interesting part too. As a team sergeant, I was very fortunate to get 4 years. Most guys get 2 to 3 years. I'm not sure what it is right now, but limited. And then I had great guys around me. So again, my experiences as a team sergeant were because I had stellar dudes. And now they're all team sergeants and sergeant majors. And they're doing it better than I ever could. So again, I rode on their coattails, and it's because they were phenomenal. But as the 4 years as a team sergeant, I lost guys every trip except for one, every deployment except for one. And that took a heavy, heavy toll, not only on me, but my wife. Because as the team sergeant, I take responsibility for my guys. But as my wife, as a team sergeant's wife, she didn't sign up to take responsibility for the families back here in the States. And as we all know, like, it's easy when we lose a guy overseas, we get to reset, and then we get our aggression and frustrations out. Within 48 to 72 hours, we're back in the mix, and we're letting that anger out. We almost get instant retribution, payback, and anger. So when we come home months later, that's all done with. We've done our job and we've let it out. But back here in the States is where the real struggling happens. The wives and the kids have to deal with the day-to-day sadness, the horrific environment of the loss of a loved one, and it never leaves. It leaves an emptiness in their heart. And that's why, Brad, with Eric Iman, it hit us all extremely hard because we were here. So for the first time, I realized what I put my wife through and the trauma that she had to endure. And it was way worse than anything we endured as soldiers overseas.
Yeah. And I was telling everybody during the break is that, a lot of the friends that I have, coming from my time of service, that are the deepening of our relationships happened, unfortunately at memorials and funerals. And that's where Jim and I met when we lost Ben Bittner, in 2010.
Let me check on that one, Brad. So when Brad and I met at the JFK Chapel, I remember we were doing rehearsals for a funeral, and these words stuck with me for my entire life. Still to this day, I remember it like it was yesterday. Brad stood up there, and we were doing the rehearsals for like the 20th time. And I'm like, oh, man, we got this. Come on. And he's like, do it again. Old Chappie driving, cracking that whip. And and he said, look, check it out, fellas. Death is chaotic. And so we will do this until it is 100% correct and with precision and accuracy. Because death is so chaotic, the more we can add precision and accuracy to this environment, the more semblance of peace we give to the family.
It's true. Yep.
That's exactly what you said to me, Brad, and it's so true.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. I remember that. It does bring order, and it's done the same way every single time, all over, everywhere, for every loss, right? And it's to be expected, and it's the one thing that you can't, the chaos of loss that you can't replace, you can't undo that. But what we can do is try to bring some kind of order back into things, and that's why those ceremonies are so important. You know,
It's so interesting. I got a call this morning, and basically I was asked, why is a flag folded twice at a funeral? I said, a flag's not folded twice at a military funeral. They said, yeah. I said, it was unfolded, folded, unfolded, and refolded again. I said, that is just not the case. That does not happen. And they said, well, I said, the flag comes in draped over the casket, it's removed from the casket, it's folded, and it's presented to the family. So, well, it was not a casket. The particular veteran was...
It came folded.
It came folded because the veteran was cremated. Right. And I said, okay, well, that's why it was unfolded the first time. Yeah. And if during the folding process, it was not folded to the precise number of folds, then they will unfold it and correct it and refold it so that when it's finished, it is correct, right? Yes. And I those things, those little things are noticed by the family. Yeah, they are. Right? And they do matter, and they do make a difference.
They absolutely matter.
And that's important whether it's somebody that's killed on active duty or whether it's a veteran receiving military honors.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, Jim, through all the loss and the we've got about 3 minutes left. Tell us what's been your, how have you transitioned from all of that, and man, how are you putting the pieces back together?
Yeah, this is perfect. So first off, I had great people around me during transition. I was fortunate enough to my good friend, General Retired Fran Beaudet, said, you're going to do a retirement ceremony. And I said, I don't want a retirement ceremony. At that time, I was dealing with a lot of medical, mental, and physical issues that I had not fully addressed. And so he said, this is not about you. This is about your family. And so basically he forced me to do it. And I'm glad he did, because it was a great ceremony. Again, I was not in my right mind. I'm telling you, Brad, you see pictures of me and my uniform's hanging off me. I had no muscle tone. I felt like death. So, in one way it was a good transition, but in another way I said, wow, I have got an uphill battle. And so how I started to put the pieces back together is, honestly, I'm 2 years post-retirement. I dealt with some medical stuff. I'm still dealing with more medical stuff, but I had everything from TBI to PTSD to heavy metal toxic exposure to physical injuries. And so I've been on a detox regimen for the better part of a year, and I get some of that crap out of me. But now I still have very much physical and mental issues that need addressing for the rest of my life. So you can't just fix it and be done. As a retired veteran that has been exposed to trauma, both at the house and on the job, you have to deal with these and address them for the rest of your life. Yeah. So what I'm doing now is I'm acknowledging all the issues that I have, and I'm straight honest. I seek therapy. I seek other interventions that are healthy, and my relationship with my wife is building back, but it's like starting back over. Yeah. And so I struggled. I want to tell everyone on this show, I struggle daily, and that's okay, because I know that I have people I can reach out to, like you. I love you, Brad. If I ever need you, I know you. I got your ear to bend. But don't think for 1 minute that there's a glorified process. Everyone's going to struggle at some point. Yeah. And I'm very much in the middle of that. And I feel like 2 years post-retirement, you're still scratching the surface.
Jim, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the vulnerability, being willing to come on the show and share your story. It's refreshing. We all need somebody. We all need help. We all need somebody to lean on. And thank you for your service.
We love you, brother. Thank you.
You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes.
The new.
Hang on. Wow. All right. Jimmy, you hear me, bro? Man, thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, wow, that
Brad-
was a great show.
Has Brad got your address, your mailing address?
I do.
Okay.
Do
I
you?
do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to drop something in the mail, and I
Yeah.
know we'll mail you a show shirt
I'm
as
gonna
well. But
mail you a T-shirt. We got putting the pieces back together T-shirts, man. So
Yeah,
we'll
buddy.
send you one
Hey
in
guys,
the mail.
thank you for letting me be a part of this. I appreciate everything you guys do, and I'm just glad to be part of it.
Hey Jimmy, I'm gonna do you a solid too, because I think this is good for you. Because I don't know how much of this you've done, but I've got a friend named Brian Jodis that has a sort of a longer form podcast called Pick Up the Six, and I'm gonna share your number with him because he is always looking for great stories and people to just be open and honest and. I think that'd be a good place for you to continue this conversation publicly, right? Because there's people that need to hear what you're saying that are out there. They're suffering in silence and they're not getting the help they need. A lot of the veterans that I'm working with in the treatment court, they like never just tried to fight it on their own. They end up putting all kinds of bad stuff in their bodies and got in trouble, and we just don't want to see any more of that.
And for what it's worth, too, just hearing your story and what very little bit I know about you, it comes to my mind that